Hello, and welcome to this episode of The Theory of Why. On today's show, we're going to talk about branding, which is ultimately why I am so excited, because a quality brand, a good brand strategy is what's going to separate you in the eyes of your target audience. Now, today, we're going to walk through the three things that make a quality brand, that make a strong brand, how you can implement them. I'm going to leave you with a challenge, and you're going to be well on your way to bringing your brand to life and making a difference in the eyes of your target audience. Let's get started. Now, when it comes to branding, there are three things that make a quality brand. The first is that your brand needs to be memorable. When you think of a brand, you think of Nike, you think of McDonald's, maybe you think of your favorite sports team or your favorite clothing apparel. But at the end of the day, the reason you're doing that is because they are memorable in your minds. Now, the other day I was reading and I saw that the average person is going to make 35,000 decisions on a day-to-day basis and see 6,000 brands every day. Think about that. Think about how much noise they're going through just by going to work, by driving their car, by going on a walk. Now, 90% of those decisions and 90% of those brands, they're not even going to recognize. They're going to go right over their head. It's what they do on a day-to-day basis. Me picking up this marker, putting it back down, I'm not thinking about it. I am just doing. And so the way that you have to stand out is to be able to have a brand that when they see it, they recognize it. They understand who it is. They say, oh, that's an ad for my favorite brand. That's Firespring. Oh, that's Alec. He's still talking. That's got to be with Firespring. Oh, that's LeBron James. That's Nike. That's whatever it is, right? And when you can do that, you ultimately are going to see a lot more success. Now, the second thing, which ladders on from being memorable, is that your brand needs to be portable. Now, it's one thing for me to remember it, right? So I know Firespring, I know Nike, I know McDonald's. But if I can't take your brand, put it in my pocket, walk across the street, and then explain it to the next person in my network, my colleague, my family member, my friends, if I can't do that, then it's not gonna matter. My favorite example with this is Firespring. Now, let's say you work with Firespring and you work with me and you say, gosh, I love Alec. He is so good with nonprofits, but he is such a great fundraising and strategy consultant. If you went out into the public and said, gosh, Firespring, they're incredible. All they do is strategy and fundraising for nonprofits, that's it. Well, that would be a really nice compliment, but it wouldn't be accurate. Firespring does so much more than that, and you would actually be negatively impacting our presence in the minds of other people. And so it's absolutely essential that people can remember your brand, right? So number one, you're memorable, but number two, you're portable. And one of the ways that you can do that is to make sure that you identify in everything you do the problems you solve, the solutions that you bring to the table, and the results that you create. If you do that in all of your marketing, your communication, your fundraising, your outreach, then it's gonna be easier for the end user to tell that story. Which leads to the last thing. Number three, arguably the most important, your brand has to be consistent. Now, it's one thing to be portable, it's one thing to be memorable, but if you can't tie it all together by being consistent, that's where you're going to lose. So what I mean by that is when I'm on your website, if I see one brand and I'm getting one frame of messaging on your website, and then I receive an email from you, or I go to your social media, or I get a direct mailer, maybe I go to an event, and you've got different colors, your logo's used differently, the way you talk about your organization, your people. If that's different across the platforms, well, I'm then gonna have a problem remembering you. I'm then gonna have a problem telling my friends, my family, my coworkers about your brand. So in order to have a quality and strong brand in today's environment, where the average person's making 35,000 decisions a day and seeing 6,000 brands, you have to be memorable, you have to be portable, and you have to be consistent. Now, I promised I was gonna leave you with a challenge. The challenge today is to go internally with your team. Maybe it's just you, maybe there's 10, 15 individuals on your staff, or maybe you've got a team of 100 plus employees. What I would do is to ask them, when you are in public and someone asks you what you do for a living and who you do it for, have them write down their answer and email it back to you. I will almost guarantee that you're gonna get 15 different answers if you have 15 employees. You're gonna get 100 different answers if you have 100 employees. And what that means, again, not a negative thing, it just means that people are talking about your organization in a different way across the community. So you could implement a one-liner, a problem, solution, result statement that would allow to mitigate some of that risk of people going out and telling their different stories. So simple challenge today, ask your current employees, ask your team, what they think or what they say when people ask, hey, what do you do and who do you do it for? That'll do it for today's show. Have a great night.